I'm Will Forge, and today we will forge. I'm still saying that after all this time. So basically, before I do anything, this is going to be really quick. So I'm not going to wait for anyone to get into stream or anything like that. I'm just going to very quickly show, because I was talking to Ripshade. This is going to take some time, so that's why I'm jumping straight into it. I was talking to Ripshade about why Breaker is just Blood Gulch. With some heavy modifications. Let's see. So basically, they said, okay, so here we go. We're going to turn Blood Gulch into Breaker in Blender in just like a couple minutes, okay? So they said, all of these faces are a cliff. They fall off, they go into the abyss, you know? Actually, we'll even say, yeah, we'll do that. And then what we'll do is we're going to grab the edges if we can. If it'll just let me loop edge. Nope. Wait, hold on. That's spacebar. There we go. Loop edge did work, but it's not. It's going to go in that direction. We don't want all those. We just want. Can we deselect with a box? I've never actually tried that before. Hey, it worked. Look at that. Deselect those. No. Deselect that one. Okay, cool. So that should be all deselected. All of this stuff. Aha, there's some more. Deselect all that. Everything over there. Just these. And you just hit extrude and go down. There we go. Now we've got our cliff, right? We'll actually scale it up just to make it look like some kind of a slope. I don't know. But the point is to make it look like a cliff, somewhat like Breaker's. So Breaker has a cliff on this side, right? And they said, well, what if our base over here, okay, what if it was add cube, where's our cube? Let's grab it, bring it over here. They said, what if our base over here is a square instead of a circle? You know, so they just adjusted this one into sort of a square. And they said, okay, so we've got a square base instead of a circle base, and we're going to make it really have an extra layer up top, and then we're going to extend it out the back. They said, okay, what if we go ahead and we go like this, and we extend it out the back as like a building, and we cool, let's do that. And they said, what if we just like, you know, and there you go. This is the side where it's the ruined ship that's all like destroyed. They of course added more things, like if they went to let's see, how do I move my cursor? For some reason I can't seem to figure out cursor. I forget how to do that because I almost never do it. Huh. Oh well. Anyway, is it right click? Anyway, I don't remember. I almost never move my cursor, so I always forget how to do it. Oh, it's because I'm on move. I need to be on this one right here. That's all it is. And they're like, add cube, scale, here we go. And then they just basically did this, right? And whenever they did, no, that's not what I want. Anyway, the point is, they grabbed this thing and they dragged it out. You know, they had this sort of like side structure over here, and they ended up with that like the bridge like ruined things over there, and they made this like loop around. They said, hey, this gets higher over here, right? It goes up into that thing. What if, and it goes down over here, and there's actually a road here that's not in my texture. I don't have the textures applied yet, so I didn't want to go through all the trouble of applying the textures. But there is actually like, oh gosh, come on, just quit grabbing my, let's just do selection for now. There's like a road that wraps around here, so they were like, well, what if the road was lower? So then they just basically grabbed all this and they moved it down. Probably more like extruded it down. There you go, and you've got yourself a little bit of a ravine that loops back around, you know? And of course they didn't have these here like that, you know, they had more of a slope back there, but basically went into the building. Actually, I think they have a literal ramp over here. But anyway, the point is, then they said, okay, well, what if we wanted to make this interesting over here so that people wouldn't notice that we just have the ridge and the caves, right? So what they did was they said, they grabbed all this, they basically said, let's delete all of this terrain and extend, let's see if that's the best way to do this. Basically, they just said, okay, let's go ahead and grab this, and they dragged it over. they went, okay, well, literally just, where's my world? Global orientation. Global. Let me turn, I don't know why I don't have chat up over here. There we go. Alright, much better. Okay. Now, they basically just said, okay, let's grab this, and they said, okay, stretch it out this way. They probably would have grabbed more like this. And they said, what if we just stretch this way, right? So that they basically go across, right? We got this sort of gap across there. So it ends up being a straight edge, as you can see. They basically probably, I don't know if they did it in a 3D modeling program really quickly, just toss it together like this. But if they did, they would have ended up with a straight edge, and then now you've got your straight bridge instead of a curved one. And that's your ridge, you know? And it's got the, you know, they didn't lose their slope on this side like I'm doing, where I've got the terrain clipping through it. But essentially that it even wraps around and slopes and goes down on this side, where it does it a little bit differently on the opposite side, just like in this map, you know, just like in Blood Gulch. So then what they did was, let's just move this stuff, these polygons, out of the way really quick, just to try and get a semblance of a decent shape here, so it's more visible. There we go. There you go. There's your slope a little bit better. Okay, and then what they did over here was they went, okay, so how can we make this area look a little better? And they ended up deciding to make it something less natural and more like a structure. Everything is more structured because it's all ruins and stuff like that. And they went, well, what if we just extrude these out, right? And we said, okay, we have a wall here. You know, we kind of just like close this in a little bit and sort of like make a, you know, really make a, boy, buddy, don't climb on me. Ah, my son just, he's climbing on me. Ah. It's like I'm trying to use my mouse. Okay. So they ended up with this sort of like opening in the middle, and as you can see, like they would have even accidentally sort of subtly made this little ridge here. And they might have been like, all right, well, what if we accentuate that? Okay, cool, yeah. What if we grab this edge? That's what I'm trying to do. Grab this edge and move this down. Now we've got like a bridge walking around from over here. And I always kind of saw that cliff, and I always wanted to jump across from there. So, you know, back in the day, playing the game, playing Halo 1, you know, I always wanted to go. So what if we just like sort of extend this out and sort of make the ridge be able to wrap around? There we go. And then you just like, let's do the same thing over here. Let's have sort of equal design here, so then they end up making a little bit of a ridge here as well to sort of try to match. And look, there you've got breaker wraps around, you know, but then like the road goes through the middle here, and they were probably like, well, now we've got this straight and we've got that straight, and there would be this meandering thing in the middle. I would say, oh man, I should have tried to triangles to quadded this, because then I would have been able to just shift or control. I don't look at the buttons, so I don't know which buttons I'm even pressing. Anyway, I would have been able to just hold down a button over there and click, and it would have linked. It would have selected this entire road. But anyway, so they just went, all right, cool. Well, it's hill on each side, and then this sort of ravine in the middle. What if we made that ravine way more extreme? And what if we put lava at the bottom? That would be great. And then Control Plus. What if we? Actually, I'll go. Yeah, let's go to, where's that thing that I haven't used it in so long? I haven't been 3D modeling in so long. There's a button. Here it is. This one. This is the best way to do this right here. Let's go ahead and rotate this. And let's, why? Oh, there it is. Yeah, nope, that's not the angle to rotate. Thank you. Gonna rotate this. Influence everything else is kind of, it's grabbing those ledges and ruining them. But, you know, this is just an example, so it's not a big deal. But basically, yeah, we'll straighten it out with the rest of it. You know, that should make sense. And we end up with, and now you have, oh, and then over here they said, right, I haven't done the blue base yet. At blue base, they said, well, this is cool, it's round, it's a base, but people are gonna know. People are gonna be able to tell way too easily that this is Blood Gulch. So here's what I want to do. Let's see if L is gonna link everything. Darn, everything is linked. Okay, well, we're just gonna put a box select around here, and we're gonna say minus. Nope, that won't work. Deselect all this stuff, so it's just the round bits. And we're gonna just say, let's see. Okay. It's a lot of deselecting, sorry. And we're gonna grab this and just instead we don't have to delete it. Instead, we're gonna invert it. You know, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna say we want this side to be a pit, a round pit with you know, exactly where the base would be located, a round pit here. But we can't just like destroy the building, so we have no base over here. So now we got to build up a base. Well, you know, no one ever used up this area back here. It's kind of got this overhang here. What if we just sort of brought that out? We just sort of extended this out a bit. Maybe straight out, you know, and then we could sort of do it again, and then just sort of grab the underside. Oh man, this is really getting hard to see through. Here we go. And then we just sort of, you know, extend it downward. And look, there we've got a base. And look, you can loop around back in through there, maybe with a vehicle, and eventually we'll just flesh that out and make a vehicle path in the front and then like walking path in the back. And then like, you know, all this kind of stuff. So basically all I'm saying is, and then we have this stuff over here. What if we just do that? The point is that you can see where very quickly we're getting into breaker territory. They then proceeded to say, let's go ahead and, like, let's put another building here. And they just sort of extruded that up. So you can kind of see, now that you're looking at it, it's starting to look like breaker, is it not? I mean, they added a bunch of other stuff, obviously. They've got, like, they wanted to jump this gap better, so of course they were going to, you know, grab all this and sort of raise it up to make the slope a little bit tighter, you know? They're gonna be like, yeah, okay, we want this to be a little bit higher. And then once it was up there, they were like, well, what if we put an area down here and put paths? And of course that led them to say, well, what's gonna be over here then? And then that's whenever they put in the hole. They said, okay, well, what if there's another cave over here? You know? And they basically did that, and then they unified the two ideas of the way this is designed versus the way this is designed, and they sort of brought it in with a unified design. But basically, where's the inset? Inset would be here. I know this is all crazed almost with the concept, but trust me, I think this is a terrible selection. It almost made a heart shape. Okay, I missed that. Okay, well, it's still sort of heart-shaped, but it's a little bit better than it was before. We'll just extrude it a few times, and then grab this one and drag it all the way. Well, let's bring down that influence. Drag it all the way across, and you kind of start to see what I'm talking about here. Let's go a little bit lower at the beginning, so it actually has a hole in it, like an actual shape to it. There we go. Anyway, you can kind of tell what I'm talking about. That this is, I know it's really blown up and weird and wonky, but if I tab out of edit mode, you can see there's the slope in the middle. The path that was originally there is now a giant ravine instead of just being a lower area that's just a little path. They tightened this up to make an entryway and an exit on each side, then made a little like complex shape in the middle, which actually if you start mirroring this shape, like if you take this shape where you've got the ridge, right? And you mirrored it across, but then kept a slope in the middle, it would be, and squared it all away, it would become the wraparound sort of horseshoe shape of the original one, right? Of the one in Breaker, I mean, with a downward slope down to a downward area. And then they just put a hole in the middle and connected it to this, so there's actually, it goes all the way in there. The areas on the side are more like this side. Like whenever you actually like look at Breaker, it's basically just, it's a doorway with a ridge, and the ridge wraps around and has a little slope going down. It's like that on both ends. It doesn't have a fancy cave network like this, but they probably just figured, well, if we add the cave over here, we're basically maintaining a cave. And everything is, yeah, it's all pretty straightforward. I'm gonna forge pretty soon because this is getting a little bit, it's taking a lot longer than I thought. But basically, the point is that you've got this going on. This is essentially Breaker. I'm gonna go ahead and rename this to Breaker. And there you go. You got Breaker from Halo Infinite. It's basically just, yeah, just that. Anyway, now we're gonna go over here because I'm gonna talk about layout for our map. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna step away for 2 seconds. Bring him to play his game in the living room. Here we go. Okay. Okay, I'm back. We're back in Halo Infinite. Let me put my headphones on so I can hear the music and everything else. Okay, so here's the map so far, right? As we have seen multiple times. Okay. I hadn't finished doing this because we went over to the other map, but what we were talking about, I went over to Ripshade's stream. Like, I watched his actual stream, and we chatted for, like, the whole time. It was pretty cool. It's over on Twitch. And we were discussing a bunch of stuff. I'm going to actually pull up my little screen. I don't know if you guys will be able to make out what's going on down there too much, but at least be a little bit better to have it. That's just Discord. Get rid of that little notification. I'm going to pull up Blender. I'm going to put it over there. And the reason I'm going to do it, I might need to make it bigger at some point. The reason I'm going to do that is because I've got... Ooh, let's go to that, center the view so we can actually control properly. This is Rat Race, okay? Now, I'm going to try and get out of that so we can actually at least see something on the above. But anyway, so this is Rat Race. Now, in Rat Race, the reason I was bringing it up in chat, in like chat and stuff like that, is because in Rat Race, I don't have the textures applied, but these areas up here, like this whole area up here, you can't really see it. I'll need to switch it to the big screen. I'll just put it over here for now. Okay. These areas up here, these upper tunnels, are all natural cave network tunnels. Some of these rooms, like this one, have natural walls in them. I think it's this one. But some of these rooms, in general, I know have natural walls in them. Might be this one as well. I think this one has some natural walls. And down here, I know for sure, has natural walls. And they look like they're not natural, but they basically have like cave wall aesthetic applied to some of these. They look very hewn, you know what I mean? But they are actually like supposed to look like rough rock. I'm sure that the Forerunner had like dug through them to make them. Essentially, it was this aesthetic. So I'm gonna pull up the. I know I'm just rambling about stuff, but yeah, this is all like a continuation of a conversation I was having with him on his stream. So that a lot of people here will have missed. But basically, yeah, here's Rat Race from above. We have that in 3D model, so it's even better than the above. But essentially, it's like, yeah, it's Forerunner walls. Some of these walls have natural wall formations, and some of them have like cave walls and like cave floors and stuff. And so it's like a Forerunner with some natural, you know, caves dug through the walls and stuff like that. Maybe it is more Forerunner than I remember, but the point is that yeah, it's also this one in case anyone is trying to remember which map it is. It's the one with the floating energy shields and invisibility up in those little holes in the ceiling that you can shoot and make them fall down, because they start having physics applied to them once they get shot. And so you can actually like acquire them from below, or you can go in from above and grab them and hop down as you grab them and get the shotgun and all that stuff. Anyway, so the reason I was bringing this up is that it kind of feels a lot like Rat Race with the holes in the ceiling that drop down from above into the cave network sort of stuff going on underneath. So if we end up having like, if we wanted to, we could even like do some callbacks to that if we felt like it. Like I like the idea of doing callbacks from time to time. So like for example, if we made like the storage room look something like this, like these are support beams and stuff like that, and there's just like crates and stuff in there, something like this, not exactly the same, but you know, yeah, we could do little callbacks like that. It'd be pretty cool. Well, I'm flipping upside down and stuff. Okay. Anyway, and then over here is rat nest. I'll just... a rat's nest. Why is it not hopping over there? Select, please. Oh, I have to actually select the mesh. I see. The armory right there, yeah. Which is its a technical internal name from Bungie. Now this one's way more detailed. I didn't know that this even existed. Never looked up. I never looked up in this hallway. Apparently there are giant towers of elevators and cranes and stuff like that in there that this is news to me whenever I pulled up this 3D model. But anyway, I feel like we're going to end up with a lot of aesthetic from this as well, because I was thinking we would have, you know, a landing pad looking thing on the outside of the asteroid, you know, of the body that they built the base in. We've got sort of like this administrative building, either the ONI or the UNSC building. We can make look a lot like this because I like the idea of having an observation deck up above. In the side that's for the you know, UNSC control. There's no roof. I mean, I didn't take off the roof on that side because there's so many polygons to select anyway. But basically, yeah, this is what the interior of that one looked like. And I was just bringing this one up because I was pointing out that they did this great job of the bases, instead of having the roads face each other, they had the bases have the roads come out and then wrap all the way around, and then go to the other one. And that ends up making the distance between this base, well, technically, yeah, I think the flag spawns right... I think it's right there in the middle, yeah. The bomb and the flag spawn, like, right there. The distance between the 2 points is actually like a 4v4 map distance. If you cut off the entire road outside here, it would just be a 4v4 map going across these two. Like, you could theoretically connect this tunnel to that tunnel and maybe include some of this outer tunnel just a bit, but like the part that like wraps around there to the outside and stuff, and then delete all of this, and you could make a 4v4 map out of Rat's Nest. And it would just be that. And it would be a lot... It wouldn't be exactly the same as yours. In fact, it would be very much like you were complaining about with Breaker, actually, like we were talking about earlier, because it was just straight lane, straight lane, straight lane, and it would be just very boring. Where this would become like a no man's land front line. But the point is that with Rat's Nest, it doesn't do that, because there's a lot of wrapping around you've got to do with the vehicles to sort of counteract each other, and you end up having these, like, really, you know, it's just really cool, you know, you've got to go around here to get to actually, compete with each other. And what that does is it makes the vehicle's movement distance significantly higher, because you've got to go out of your parking space, over, and then you can go straight to the other base, but you have to bypass the other base, you have to go farther than the other base, and then wrap back in, and then come in to get in there. But you can also go in and wrap around and come in through the middle, or hop down into the middle, so you've got some playroom right there, but it's very limited, and people on foot have an advantage over you here, as long as they're not immediately on the ground in here where you can run them over. So this is what I was talking about with Rat's Nest being really cool, as far as like a a play space. So you and I were talking yesterday while on your stream. Oh, yeah, I can just deselect all before I start moving. We were talking about... I'll throw together some objects actually to just sort of block it out, what we were talking about with your pictures. So we had floors. Let's go to a half floor and just scale it up, like huge. This is gonna be a really rough block out. But essentially, well, you and I were talking about, you had drawn a rough sketch. I'm gonna sort of create the rough sketch of, like, actually, I might need to bring that in to make the sketch because of the hole. Bring that out. And you were talking about Ripshade. Let's see. I'm so late to get started. I don't know if you guys can even know I'm like streaming yet, but because I don't see anyone talking in chat yet. But yeah. And then let's see. We would put. Let's see. Just to do a really rough sketch. Actually, I was gonna put like angles versus like rectangles and like make a less rough sketch, or, I mean, version of your sketch, but I'm gonna make it even rougher than that and just use these rectangles. Because it was a sort of triangle hole in the middle anyway. So you had that, the idea, what you had drawn was this, which I liked. Let's see if I can duplicate that, flip it around, put it on the other side. It doesn't need to be perfect because this is not even a block out. This is a sketch of a block out. But yeah, basically that was what you had drawn, and then we would have no, not that. I thought I deselected all just now, and I know I did actually, but it didn't do it. But and then there would be a wraparound for the building over here. So we could go ahead and do that, where we would have a wraparound there and a wraparound over here. And what I'm worried about with this is that it would become like waterworks, and let me explain what I mean by that. The cool, I love these holes ideas, and I love the idea of doing outdoor stuff like this. You're basically saying put a whole new base out here and a whole new base over there, and then this being a central building. And the new base might be very simplified out here. They might not be super complex bases. But, and I think this is really cool, but I do think that there would be a pitfall, and the pitfall would be no one would be fighting in there anymore. And this is such a well-designed, tight, you know, like block out and like design, like map design and layout, that I feel like it would just be like, a lot of people would just be like, well, that's the flag, and that's their flag. Go around that building with the warthog and fight them, and don't do anything in here. It's like, yeah, the power weapons are in there, but why even go in there? I'm going to go with the vehicle and go around. So I feel like this would get a little bit iffy there. So when instead, what I was thinking was, and you were talking, we were both talking. You were the one who brought it up about the idea of what do you call it? What's the word? Not symmetrical. The opposite of that. Well, not the opposite, but inverse symmetry. Not asymmetrical, but inverse symmetry. So this is what, when you were saying that, and I was saying a tighter S, like what if we make it into like a more of a tighter S? I was thinking about this when I was saying it, essentially. What if the bases are like this, right? And you're talking about how there'd be an entrance and versus a window. So like, there'd be like a window on this side going down to the bottom area, and an entrance on this side going to the bottom area, and then over here would be the reverse. It'd be like a window and an entrance, and we could do something like that. That would all be like, I guess, outside this map versus the inside area, which was like the ramp there, elevator over there. But that would just mean that basically you have to enter the map to get to those other entrances that are more, you know, identical or something like that. But essentially, what I'm thinking is if we did an inverse S, like a sort of S bend like this. So if we bring, let's even bring this in a little tighter, and this side a little bit in a little tighter, then we would have essentially an outdoor area with these. I might just delete this because I know we can put it back in very easily by copying one of these and snapping it. And since this was going to be like a doorway into the building, I'm just, ooh, that's a prefab. Okay. That's not what I want to do. No, select there and delete that. There we go. So if that's going to be an entrance, that these are like little like loading and unloading zones. I got the big old orange thing in the way. Then what we would do, like this space would be right next to that entrance, so that wouldn't work. But what we could do is put the bases on this side of the jump area, or not even. Or even make it to where, like, so if we did like Rat's Nest, this is what I was thinking. This is what I was talking about Rat's Nest. Is that if we kept the bases where they are, like, right? So where are the flag spawns? I'm trying to remember. In here, right? In security. If in the security room, right, you have to go through the actual like major spawn zone of this base before you can get to the security, you know, zone. Or you have to come through here where, you know, again, major spawn, like you've got lots of good spawn points to sort of defend this. If we kept it to where you have to travel through here to get to there, then you'd have to travel back with the flag, and there's plenty of areas that you have that makes this very difficult to get back with the flag, and like relatively fast, you know what I mean? I mean, you could theoretically, okay, let's see. I'm gonna, like, just to be the quickest, you could grab the flag I'm hitting that thing. Okay, grab the flag, hop, come down here, hop, and then like maybe throw it up through that window if that's possible, and then another player could grab it and put it in. put it into the capture plate. But here's the thing. What we can do is we could theoretically leave the flag here and put the capture plate outside. So like you don't if you know, if we have a pointer here that tells us where this location is, right? This flag delivery plate, and we have another place out here where we can put a flag delivery plate. We don't have to like switch between them. We can literally just move the object. And whenever we move the capture plate, we're essentially rebalancing the map. Because yes, the flag is here, and you can grab it and try and get it back to your base, but you don't bring it to that part. So then they'd have to go outside and come around, or something to that effect. Like we could do a you know, some kind of loop like that. And if we make it to where it's outside, then there's a chance that a vehicle could drive around the outside and flank them and get them just as they're going outside, while the other allies are chasing them down inside. So we would be able to have our loop around, like you were saying. But I was just saying that basically the tighter S-bend would be that it would be like a, you know, like S like this, you know what I mean? Instead of being across. But the main thing would be balancing across the entrances and exits here. And since we were talking about entrances and exits to the bottom as well, so let's try and, if we rotate this to maybe be like that, and then just thin it out a bit so that we can have more, didn't mean to adjust the height, to try and make room for like a ramp to go down into the basement there, then I think this might work. But like, this is why one of the reasons why let's see, here we go. Let's see, and this is just okay, hold on. Get a good angle for it. Maybe more like that, I don't know, but it's hard to say with this positioning. But we can make the ground out here not be even. Like, it could go out and slope down and then have the ramp come down from there so that it would be even, you know, it would get down here faster. But basically, if we have, like, a way down there, right? And then we have... world. It might actually... Let's see. So basically what... what do you call it? Rat's Nest does is, it's not inverse symmetry, I suppose. It's more of, it is an actual symmetry. Let's see, to pull off their effect like this. I don't think that's correct. It's more like this, but it's not quite there either. Let's see, mirrored. Yeah, it's mirrored, exactly. So this is not inverse symmetry. Doing this would be, let's see, I don't know, it's kind of hard to set it up in a way that both does the, basically, because this thing is mirrored, it's going to be very difficult to build an inverse symmetry on the outside that also balances with the movement of the inside and keeps us wanting to go into this structure. Because, like, for example, Waterworks isn't mirrored. I don't have any way of pulling up Waterworks very quickly right now. But Waterworks is mirrored right down the middle, across from side to side in its central structure, but people only go in there to get, like, the energy sword, to have a couple encounters, maybe grab the sniper up top, and get, like, a height advantage. And it's not as complex as all this. But with this being so complex, I'm worried that if we just expand it out too far, that it's going to end up being like no one goes in here. This has to be like the main part of the map, like at least like the way that it was before in your drawing, which was just a crude sketch, I know, so it's not like it was like super detailed. Then it's gonna, the way that it was scaled there, it was like there was an entire central building's worth of space over here and over here, so it's only like 1/3 of the map, but it needs to be more like 50% of the map, I would say, at least, if not more. And the route around needs to possibly even, what if we even did it like we drew from Rat's Nest and made it to where, like, we pull one of these, because this building here, well, I guess I don't really need to do it that way. What if I just do it this way to show it off? So if this thing's bigger, right, and then there is also a large administrative building here that would be mostly aesthetic, maybe not this tall because that would dwarf the Oni building. We wanted the Oni building to be the largest, like most, you know, creepy looking building in the map, visually. Then basically, like Oni always does, they've got to be the biggest, you know, scariest people. Then you'd have to wrap around and out, and then go back around and back in. And we could theoretically work some more holes over here as well. Like, what if the landing pad is out here, right? And we did, what if we did this? Okay, I started to do this a second ago, and then I changed my mind and did this giant block. But no, let's actually do what I was going to do a second ago. What if the platform comes out like this, right? And then we have the landing pad section over here, where this is all artificial structure. It might even be designed to have a ship land here, not just like a shuttle or pelicans, but like almost like a flight control at an airport. We might have like little tunnels poking out, like they would go out to a frigate. That's just not docked here at the moment because I don't want to have to build a frigate. That would be a lot of our budget just gone. But if we have enough budget at the end, I could build a frigate there or something like that, and that'd be kind of cool. Or half of a frigate. The part of the frigate you'd see from this side. We don't have to do the entire other side looking good. And there are a bunch of people who already built frigates, but I don't know if they're good enough to be this close to the base. Anyway, if we have like a hole here, right? Where this is all artificial structure, landing pads for like pelicans and bridge structure, like an airport kind of thing. This is the port. And it's away from the Oni building because we don't want the, you know, the flood research over here to get to our port. We want them to have to fight through the entire UNSC forces before they get over here so that we can evacuate our, you know, ships immediately. We can have them dust off and get out of here before the flood can get over here. It's all, you know, quarantine. This is all too high. There we go. Anyway. And then these giant holes would be a way of, like, distancing the rest of the base from, like, literally, this is a physical distance quarantine, which we might even be like, claim, yeah, this gap was specifically designed so that flood would not be able to jump this gap. They can jump very far, but they made this large enough that the flood could not affect it, that according to their, you know, field information, their debriefings from Master Chief and stuff like that, they know that the flood can't jump that gap, or something like that. We can just claim some nonsense like that. But essentially, what we're looking at here is getting into a point where maybe we would do actual symmetry, or like mirrored instead of symmetry, and do this. I don't know why I'm flipping this around. There's no way I can do it like this. I still need to have, I still need this to be the thin one over here, and I still need it to be angled that direction. Probably should have just undone that. Anyway, basically just this instead of the other way around to be more like that side. And then maybe have, so we would have like something like this. Does that sound good? I don't know if Ripshade's even in chat today, or if he's just listening for the whole thing before saying anything. But if you're here, Ripshade, what do you think of that? It basically is a lot. I'm basically taking your triangles, bending them up like that. I was saying S bend before in chat because I was trying to do the because I was liking the idea of the inverse symmetry. But after thinking about it overnight, I was worried about how that would play out with keeping this central building. That's what I was saying in chat whenever I was like, I don't know, we need to keep that central building, like the structure as the focal point of battle. And, you know, so I was thinking this is like something more like this, but basically, yeah, I wanted to hear from you. I don't know if you're here at the moment. I do see there are people in, like, obviously there's Halo Outsiders, and there's, according to YouTube right now, 2 concurrent viewers, but 3 people. There's, like, it says concurrent viewers 2 up top. It says 2 concurrent viewers, 3 concurrent viewers, 3 people, and yeah, so I don't know who all is here right now, but if you're here, Ripshade, this is kind of this is one working method. We don't have to do it this way. Halo Outsiders is here. Cool. Yes, thanks. Awesome. And the thoughts I had over here, since I'm doing this, I might as well do this as well, right? So the idea, Gosh, why is it not moving correctly? Oh, I'm on object movement instead of world movement, but I don't know why it always does that as a problem. So if we build an area poking out here, it could be part of the structure. What if, actually, this window, right? We wanted this window, okay, one of these windows points out toward that. And, what I was thinking was, okay, this is obviously probably poking into the map. Oh, it's not actually right now. That's pretty good. I was thinking that this would be a barracks, and I was thinking that it would, let's see. Since the floor, it's scaling in the opposite direction than it's supposed to. And it would come up to like here and then come out potentially onto this as like a balcony area, which originally I was thinking would be like a landing pad out over here or out here, something like that. Maybe even on the ground out here. But I'm thinking, I really like the idea of this being like a port. I guess we could put a small landing pad for like pelicans, you know, like that kind of size landing pad right there. But anyway, okay, so then we're gonna go like this. So, and let's see. So, okay. So if this is over here, in, like as a barracks over here, right? And then it's a barracks over there. And then, this would have been really good for me to have done sooner, so we could have just been on the same page, because you'd see what I was thinking, and then you'd be building, and then you would be able to tell me what you were thinking, and we could go off of that together and work it out. But let's see, for now, this was working. Just to, because I saw what you were talking about yesterday with the sketch, and so I'm going to show you what I was talking about yesterday and today. Should we be able to go around the outside of this side with the Oni building? I would say so. This is an even longer trek than the other one if that's the entrance and exit. It would be a shorter trek for going from out downstairs. So if the downstairs you come up, you come around, you can loop around that way to the base. So I kind of like that. This way you'd come up the ramp and then come up, you know, you would, technically, if we have this door opening, then there's no way in and out with a vehicle up there. That's weird. I wonder if I could trigger it so that if a vehicle drives in right here, it closes the door, and then when that vehicle leaves that area, it opens the door. So like if you come in here, you can come down the ramp, and then the door will open, and then you can go down. I could probably script that, but we'll consider that. I don't know. We might have to rearrange how we're doing this and keep this as just a solid ramp and put another doorway down into the bottom from over here. Anyway, so yeah. So if it's like this, then that would make like a... We could even theoretically... Okay, this is kind of... What if we made a thin walkway here? Right? And we did a thick path here, to where that wrapped around this way, and this was more of a footpath that maybe a mongoose could go through, or maybe even a ghost. Like this, with a very thin kind of little walkway there. That would potentially be like a balcony off of the barracks, overlooking a hole in the terrain. Maybe a dig site. Let's see. Let's see. Unfortunately, Ripshade does not appear to be here. I would love to to hear from you if you whenever you show up. I did ping him in the in Discord, so he should be here soon enough. I'm sure, if he's available. He might be at work. I don't know his work schedule. We met online. Here. So let's see. If this were like that, and sort of in here, then we'd have... Did my music stop? Looks like my music stopped. Let's keep going. Okay. So that would be that. That's a little too much here now. I was already poking in too much to the map, so let's go ahead and do that anyway. And, gosh. Here we go. Bring that in. We'll bring it out of the map so it's not eating up the entire terrain. Let's see, and we could theoretically even do an angle here. Maybe like this. But to get that effect we were talking about from Rat's Nest earlier, like they have that straight 90-degree turn. I don't want a 90-degree turn because it's going to feel more of like a natural, naturally forming asteroid around the Forerunner artifact from thousands of years of build-up of rocks and stuff on it. Just sort of gravity just slowly forming it inside of a nebula. Okay. I guess that was what I was thinking. And I guess whenever Ripshade watches this later, because if he's not watching now, then he's going to be watching later. And whenever he watches later, he'll see how the thoughts evolved over time. But yeah. Let's see. Is this still a floor piece? Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's going to scale inverse. And I was thinking that we wouldn't be allowed inside of UNSC command because this is a drill. They don't let you enter the command deck during that. And we could even do, remember how I was saying on Rat's Nest, they had that one structure that, let's see, I'll put a floor because it's going to be this one. They had that one structure that's a really cool, like, window observation deck style thing that's actually in the first mission of Halo 3 as well, which is like a little observation window. And we could do this right here. We could do this out here, like looking at the loading and unloading zone for the air vehicles, which would actually be a callback to Rat's Nest because it kind of looks like the wraparound where the caves are, or where the cave is open up on Rat's Nest, kind of, at this point. But most of our base, in our case, is inside the central area, and these are like wraparounds where you come out and go around, so it'd be very different in the end, and our central area is completely different. Let's see, let's actually make this not too long. Well, that's not what I want to do. Oh, it's not going to let me fix the scale because of undo scaling doesn't work right now. So I guess that one can just be a little thinner than the other one. But yeah. Which would mean our distance down. Okay, so this is kind of getting to the point where I'd need to put my sort of nitty-gritty out here of what I was saying earlier. So if I bring this back, right, this would be sort of like a walkway style thing. Probably go to here. Okay. This is where the this would be out to, if what I'm talking about is the way we go, then what I would say is this would block out, this is like kind of big team battle blockouts. Let's see. Why did that not, I wanted that to spawn in next to it. There we go. Not 45 degree, we'll go 15 degrees lower because that's a good slope. And then we will tighten this up, and it might be different than 15 degrees eventually. Well, I wanted to snap that in, but it doesn't look like it wants to. And then this one would be more like, this, right? I think this is getting a little long. Let's see, go back in this way. And then we can do, whoop, what the heck? Object, tilt, there we go. Let's see. Okay, well, we're gonna snap that to that one and then move them both up. There we go. That's good enough. This needs to be moved down to sort of show off the block out in case I want to actually drive a vehicle around here to see how it actually pan out. Okay, come on. Snap me to where they're actually touching. Okay, never mind. I'll just do it by hand and worry about the slight imperfection later. Okay, so that sloped down by 15. And then we're going to want a sort of bridging piece that will connect the two for just this block out. Oh, you want to go that way and that way. 15. Oh, what? Nope, nope. You want to go More like 5 degrees this way, I believe. Oof. Let's go that way. I think it's... Nah, is that right? Yeah, that's about right, but we need it to be on a world axis tilted this way just a bit. There we go. That should work just fine for this block out. And we will, scale it in that way, apparently. We want it to be more correct for the size of these. And, okay. Now the tilt is not enough. So let's go like, we gotta go to object and tilt it just a bit. Just so, like I said, we can drive around on it in a little bit just to see how that's working out. Okay, so, cool. So we've got some people here, and maybe Ripshade will join in a minute. Hopefully. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see, that's kind of sloped okay just for the block out. I need a triangle piece there to make it actually work, but anyway, the point is that we're going to do the same thing over here. Tilt this 15 degrees. Actually, no, this is not going to be tilted 15 degrees. This is going to be down, and this is not the area I want to be tilted 15 degrees. I want this to be here. Well, actually, that was good. And then have another one of these. We'll just do this, and then we will tilt it downward and try to snap it to there and make that sort of, and we'll just clip it into here just to make it kind of give us the rough idea of what I'm trying to do here, and maybe bring it in a bit. I don't know why we're moving by, like, scaling by 16s. And then a little sort of thin ramp here that's for personnel, like a staircase kind of thing. It might come out, oop, not that way. We're going to rotate on world axis, so it's flat at the top, and we just sort of would touch that in there. This is a terrible block out, but it is communicating the idea. And it might be something where if we can't do a good enough slope for this, like this would be a really tight slope for a staircase, we might do a staircase that goes and then wraps, or something like that, or comes down this way and then wraps that way, which actually might be the better option anyway, because it would get it would make it like a path that you naturally come up this way, you know, and you might even be able to just clamber up it at one point to just make it way faster. So if we did that, it would come off the corner here. Let's see if it'll let me snap to here. No, it won't. It won't let me do that. And we will grab this side, bring it in a little bit because we don't need all that extra length. And it would go down to like a little platform. That'd be like here. Let's just snap that there. And that is weirdly tilted. Let's just reset the rotation on that one. Snap it there and go back to that. I think is... Nope. Nope. I have no idea what's going on with the rotation of this. I'm just going to stick it there. And then I'm going to duplicate it and go 15 degrees down. No, 30 degrees down because... Oh, I'm rotating on a world, that's why. So basically, something like this. There. Have the road wrap around the outside. I do actually want this a little bit wider here, but it would curve off at the corner there. Just wouldn't poke out that far in the final one. And what I was thinking was that would allow us to bring this down, which will allow us to bring this slope down here, and we could do what you were saying, Ripshade, which is make it deeper down here so that you can admire like the massive digging out, you know, Forerunner structure being dug out. And then what I was saying about inspiration from, and then that would put this like here, which is really low compared to, well, I guess we didn't have to go down, and no, yeah, we would want some road here. So actually, let's get one of these, and I'll block out sort of a rough idea down here. And I might even grab some rocks to I'm going to block out with rocks as well, because I want to show what I mean by natural cave in a second. That's what I was about to start talking about, was how I'd like it to be a little bit like how I was imagining it, rather visually, and that's mostly art, but if you're keeping it in mind, then you can keep in mind like what's natural cave versus not natural cave, which would be I think really, you know, helpful for so if that's like there, then basically I was trying too hard to block it out from where it was attaching to the doorway. Like before I was like, yeah, trying to go down from here, and I was trying to figure out ramps, and it just was not doing well. Basically, I was trying too hard to art and block out at the same time whenever I was trying to do that one to show you what I meant, and that was a mistake. Because you're going to be blocking it out. So if I go and, like, you're the one who's actually blocking it out. So if I go and end up trying to do a block out and an art at the same time, it's just going to make it really hard for you to understand, I think, and also be able to change things. You know, it would be tough. I think it would be really cool to have these holes connect down here somehow. Like, we could theoretically, we've got the cranes over here. We could theoretically do some kind of crane thing over here, though, where there's some, where, you know, you can lift and, you know, put like really large, like one central crane over here that looks like it would be one fairly large. Well, I guess it'd have to be just long enough to go down into the hole, right? So you probably want it to be able to go all the way to the other end, if you need to, so you can centralize your payload. And basically, that would pick up stuff from the loading dock and be able to bring it down here to be put into the storage area very easily, for large crates and large deliveries. And then, let's see. And then what we could do is, like, for example, let me reset this one's rotation so I can see it on an actual cardinal path with the central building, because I think this one's twisted. Yeah, it is. Okay. So, and I kind of like that it's twisted, so I'm going to keep that, but yeah. Something akin... Oh, that almost lines up with the middle of the map. Almost perfectly. So, something like this. This is getting really simplified, so I don't know exactly, but it's like a very simple little loop now, and I wanted it to be, I was thinking of having corridors. Maybe that would be where your expertise of blocking things out in more detail, for like everything like that you did up top. We need something to receive the elevator over here. That's why I'm doing this. The Oni elevator needs to be able to come down, and it might be, actually, this would be kind of cool. What if the Oni elevator actually comes down and has sort of like, okay, hold on. What if that, right, except we're going to bring this in. What if the Oni elevator is a bridge across a gap here? To where when it's up, when it's not there, it's like a hole. This is a terrible way of showing it, but maybe more like that. And then snap to there, and then you snap to there. Oop, nope, that's not what I wanted. Snap to there. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted, but let's center it. And then it will be pretty good. Okay, so like the elevator, this isn't actually like representative of exactly what I'm saying, but basically the elevator comes down and would bridge a gap between these two places. So as long as it's up, there's like not a real way across here. You maybe could, yeah, you could jump the gap. You'd have to jump the gap there. I don't know if that's a cool idea or not, but that would be kind of cool to me. And otherwise, it goes into the pit, which would we could actually imply that the elevator could go even farther by doing that, if it's an opening here. So it could just keep going, and then there would down into the depths, and like this would be a great place to be able to just see the entire structure dug out. And theoretically, this is where the rocks come into play. Whereas I was saying I was going to block out with rocks eventually. If I go to, what is it, it's in cover. We'll use this rock as our blockout rock so that it very much looks different from every other rock, and that's kind of what it's meant to do. So the structure could still be heavily buried on this side, which is what you were saying you would love to see, is it being partially still buried. But then we were also saying I would love to see more of it so that we could kind of tell, we could like sort of admire the detail. And what if like it's still buried over here, right? But then over here is where it's completely uncovered. Like Oni is allowed to see the entire thing, but UNSC is built over here, and maybe their base is even built on top of where they would have to excavate to fully unravel it over here. But then we could even like make a hole here, a pit here, where we could, like you were saying, the power drills drilling away at the rock. I could theoretically have a drill there, it's just going, and I could do sparks flying and all sorts of stuff like that, and that'd be pretty cool. And then we could scale this way up to sort of just block out the actual like the asteroid. So just to get an idea of asteroid stuff, let's do that. That'll make a nice little flat spot. Okay, and then no, let's switch to rotation on the world axis to sort of get us this, and this will kind of give me a good thing to use for blocking this out. We could even do some natural walls or even natural floors inside of here. That'd be pretty dope. I think that'd be awesome. There we go. And then, let's see, that would start to bury the central object, so let's not do that there. Let's do this. Let's see how that messes with that little block out I put in there. Okay, we'll just come down like this, and that should give us enough of that. Yeah, there's that pit that's talking about that we generate, and then it would be a pit all the way around. We could even look like Oni has drilled all the way through the bottom of the rock, but I don't know. That would be up to your opinion on, like all the way down through the bottom of space. You know what I mean? Just to fully uncover it to make sure they knew where it was. And then let's see. So I kind of need to mirror this block out if I'm going to continue around that side, so that's what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and delete this. I guess I could delete all of this side and then rebuild the other side over there by deleting all the by copying the objects and sort of trying to mirror them. Okay, so this is where the mirror object or mirror prefab would be amazing if they just great if they just had that. I'm just gonna flip it over. Wait, that's not what I meant to do. This way. There we go. This one needs to, I guess, rotate. Gosh. 45 degrees, is that right? Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Well, nope, it's not the right angle. See, oh, no, that's definitely not what I want to do. Where did it, why won't it let me undo that? That's so obnoxious. How is that gonna break? I've never seen rotation and movement break like that. But I guess it's after you delete an object, and then you try and bring it back. If you immediately try to then undo the rotation you did before that deletion, it's like, no, you deleted it, everything's cleared, we don't know where that object was anymore. That'll work, centering it to that block. That should work fine. But anyway, this should be the correct angle here. And I don't know how I have it connected, but snapping it there would make sense. No, it's not there, and it doesn't make sense. Let's see. Needs to be it was like right around there. Yeah, that looks about right. And then we gotta duplicate this and bring it over. This one I don't have to turn around or anything, I just gotta drag it over and sort of match it up to that corner there. It's roughly right around there. And then I can copy this and this, but it's gonna be like, and this time I'll actually duplicate it instead of messing it up. Alright, complete rotation. And then I'll figure out that second sloped one in a second to figure out which way I need to rotate it. Because right now I'm like brain farting about how I'm supposed to get this one to the correct angle. We're on world. I just need to go not 90, Was it 45? Yeah, I think it was just 45, but I could be wrong, and this may not line up. Yeah, it still didn't line up. It's got to be more like... It's not even that. Okay, there we go. So what was that? 55 degrees? Yeah, I guess I had to rotate that 55 degrees for some reason. Anyway, and I need this to that side. I need to put this thing over here. And also rotate it around 55 degrees, apparently. I did 90. And then I did 55. Or I went back 40. And then 55. Okay, there we go. So it wasn't 55. It was whatever that 90 minus 55. Anyway, the point is, this thing over here and these pieces, duplicate them. Man, I got everything on the wrong angles because I just was going so fast and loose with that. So copying it is actually troublesome. Let's rotate this 90 degrees, or 180. Let's go 180, and then just put it in there. And then we will, I think it was a 15 degree rotation here. That looks about right. And then I will grab this, and I will not make this perfect at all. Just gonna go ahead and put it, okay, it's not gonna let me magnet. Just gonna do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this one around 180 degrees, and then go 15, or like 5 degrees or 15 degrees or something like that this way. I'll go 10 degrees. There we go. That looks about like the angle that was over here, that was achieved over on this side, appears to have been recreated. I'm going to go 90. I'm going to flip it that way, and that way I know it's exactly mirrored, and I don't need to worry about it. And then touch that to that corner, and bring it in a little bit. I think I've got it basically lined up with that corner, but then this piece is where I've got to go. I think this one's got to go probably rotated around. No. Okay. What am I trying to do here? How would I flip this one? I think I've got to go on object. Maybe. No. Object isn't going to work either. Okay, I think I've just got to figure this one out, because it's such a weird angle that I can't just kind of... I don't think anyway. Can I just do this? Yeah, now I've got to flip it this way too. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay, let's just go 15 degrees. I think it was like this, roughly. And we'll just stick it in there. That's close enough. Close enough for the block out. For the rough block out. Now this, I feel like, should be different, but I'm not sure exactly what it is that I did. Oh, I'm basing it off this, and this is not length. This doesn't have the length right. I see. Okay, so I need this to be here because of back there, and then I need to extend this until it stretches over to around the same spot. There we go. Now this is actually correct. Okay, that's cool. So now I need to duplicate this, rotate it 180. Not 180, 90, and this one should just fit over here perfectly because it was more precise with where it was. Rotating 90 should work, and then I can start copying this stuff. So let's see, 90, let's see, that's 45 degrees. Should have been that easy with most of them. I think this is correct for which angle this should be. And like I said, should have been that easy for all of them, but who knows if that's actually accurate. Okay, and this one I think is one I can just... Oh, I can be doing this, right. I can go to world and go 180. There we go. By flipping it over. Oops, I booped the microphone. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's see. And this is going to go in line with that one, basically. Eyeball it. Pretty good. And then this one is gonna go, I think I had reset this one so I could just do this, and it should stretch across. And like I said, it went to almost the exact mid perfectly just by coincidence, and it appears to have, yeah, literally like the exact mid. Okay, I'm gonna move this block. Like I said, I think this was your center block. I don't think you need it anymore because you have so much else to center off of, but that's your but yeah. So I'll just go ahead and do that. I'm gonna delete this junk because like this is all like I'm gonna art and build at the same time. What, like I said, was a mistake. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do with this ramp here. We may end up not even doing this as a ramp for vehicles. I don't know, because this way, like you and I were both in agreement that this should be really low so that we could see this structure in the middle. And I could either shrink the structure so it wouldn't have to be so low, or we could keep it and you know, keep it the way it is and adjust the height of the floor. And at this point, I'm seeing how low this is, and I'm like, how would we even bring that ramp to get down here? It's so far. I almost feel like that had to be another elevator, like something you could drive into and then just go down, you know what I mean? Or maybe even turn this ground floor, like put an elevator in the middle of this to where it would become like a hole, a pit in the middle, which might actually make it to where you can't throw the flag up into the window if we put it close enough to where like there's no way to get a good angle on that anymore. And then your flag might fall, but you know, and then you're farther from capturing it, but I don't know, like we were talking about earlier, or like I was saying earlier, I guess. And if we duplicate this just to make it, well, we could theoretically actually leave gaps on the sides. That might be interesting, and put a little bridge sort of thing to the mid like that, the way it was before. I almost kind of like that, because then it's like you have to drive around farther, but you don't have to walk. You could walk through the mid, and then hop to, you know, here, and go through, and then hop across to the elevator, or wherever else. Let's see, and then of course, like we were talking about the other day, you could hop down through that, where it's just going to be like a doorway that opens up, and then you have like this sort of height advantage on like everyone practically. But like I was also saying, is that you could add a bunch of stuff going on here. Like, it doesn't have to be as open as all that. Like, I don't think it should be. I think that we should make it much more detailed than all of this. I'm going to put some blocks in here, so I'm going to continue doing this, because that's why I built out the rest of that. So I could. I mean, it's kind of cool. This is probably going to be natural out here, so I could just let the rocks poke through a little bit. It shouldn't be a big deal. And then this one, I'm going to rotate it. Oop, nope, not that much. Rotate it 15 degrees, and then what I'm going to do, nope, a little more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stretch it really heavily just to make this wall, because that's kind of what I was thinking. Oh, right, pits, holes. There's going to be holes all the way through the map, like these will be, which, by the way, I need to keep that in mind whenever I'm placing these. This is going to be a hole through the entire asteroid, and have some more asteroid out here that connects to these. Ooh, let's see. Let's do this, and maybe do some walls, some natural cave walls in there, and not eat up the entire path, but leave it a little bit open. And then we've got, let's see, how much does that eat this? A lot, like entirely. Okay, there we go. And it might be interesting if there is actually a hole here looking out, like a window, like you were saying before, but this window would not work like you were talking about, so I don't know if that's, because this is just what I had in mind before you said all that stuff with the window, as well as some stuff incorporating what you were doing, what you were saying, it might be better to, like whenever you get in here and start doing it too, Ripshade, you're going to be able to completely change this and like, you know, make it a little more like how you were envisioning it. But basically, if it's a hole all the way through, let's see, let me rotate it around and do this direction, because that would make more sense anyway for the outside of this. It actually kind of fits that slope. Like, I could almost just delete this thing and put this natural slope here. But like, if there's a hole here, let's see if I can scale it to make it fit a little better. Maybe rotate that one this direction so that doesn't go entirely like that. To where there's a hole, you can fall straight through the map and end up falling into space off of this thing. I feel like they'd have guardrails. Anyway, this thing is actually even poking in a little too much, I would say. So maybe bring it out a little bit more and maybe shrink it, because it doesn't need to go out that far. And I'll do the same thing over here. I will open the hole up just a bit. I don't know if that's how far I went on the other one, but... And then I will shrink it to be about there. I love the shooting stars on this map. I think it's more like that. There we go. But this gap would be like natural rock there. It wouldn't just look like a weird like layer. Okay, so boom, rotate this, have this here, and sort of like this, I think. So I don't want to close up this hole, but I want to go with the hole, and maybe even come up enough to fill in that thing. No, not right now. Well, maybe like this. If I do it like this, maybe. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, it kind of implies what I was talking about the outside being very rough terrain there. Like being more like a natural terrain. So if it pokes up a little bit, it's not going to be a big deal. Because there probably will be bumps and things like that in the path out there. What's this rock doing? Okay. This rock needs to get a little bit further over. That's what it's doing. It's moving out of the way. Okay. Now we've got our hole through space. We'd probably have some natural shape there, so let's go ahead and duplicate this, but flatten it, essentially. Like, almost like a blade. And fill that gap in with that. He's gonna come in and be like, what in the world? He'll probably, I wonder if he'll join in before he's seen the video for today. And be like, what happened to the map? You know? That'd be kind of funny. But yeah, having a little window there to like overlook, to look out into space, that means that you'd be kind of viewing this, that kind of poking up a little farther than I want it to. I'll probably want to shrink it so that the blade, that upper edge gets a little flatter. Because that would, we definitely don't need this piece to be super tall. We got plenty of other stuff to like block out the rest. So there we go. And what I might do is leave this side open instead of putting in the rocks on this side. And the reason I just realized that I kind of want to do that is so that he can see, like, this is the side of what it would look like once it's enclosed. The other side is a way that he can view the area that has been before it's enclosed, so he can kind of see what I was doing, which would give him the freedom more easily to adjust things. Like if he adjusted on the other side to build out how he thinks it should be, then I think that would be like how his impression of this versus what he was saying before, and how to make it look, you know, exactly what he was thinking. And by the way, the reason these slope off is because this is literally part of the rock, I was thinking. This isn't like road. And what that means is that essentially it's just the curvature of the rock as it like goes out into, as it curves off. Like this is these orange parts are asteroid. In fact, I will texture them to look like asteroid. This area might have road on it, but otherwise it will be asteroid. That might be completely artificial. But that will probably be a road, and this will probably have road here. So you know what I'm going to do, actually? I am going to bring this over, snap it into position if I can. Yeah. And then shrink it. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Flip it around and shrink it. And I'm going to make it either the same, just the same color as this asteroid rock out here, but I might even just pick a rock texture and just apply it to it so he can just see what I was thinking would be. And it would just be for part of the block out, just as more visual. Ooh, are these not all the same object? Oh, I accidentally grabbed a rock, I bet. Let's see, that one. These are all just rectangles, so they should all be the same, but I must have grabbed a rock in the process. Okay, design grid. Let's set this to some kind of rock. I think there's literally rock or stone. Might be in stone, but we'll see. There's definitely rubble. I'll do rubble. That'll work. Rubble? Where is rubble? Maybe not. I don't know where rubble is. So I'll go down. Where's W? I mean, not W. S. I just saw W and suddenly the wrong letter came out. Wait, I just passed it up. Am I not? Am I crazy? Like, what's going on here? It's right here. Stonework. Is it? Oh, you know what? There's like a natural stone. That's kind of what I'm thinking of. I wanted rock, like a natural looking rock, not this. But where is that? I could go gravel. I guess that would work. Oof. Gravel too, looks like not like gravel at all. Okay, so anyway, I'll do that, and what I'll do is I'll set it to a color that sort of matches those rocks on the outside, so he can kind of get a better idea of what's going on here. So that's natural. This is all, the orange stuff is unnatural. Down here would be a mix of natural and unnatural. This hole would allow for, like I said, a crane to be loading and unloading. I might actually open this up a little bit more. Oh, you know what? Let me undo. Why did it not undo that one? That's annoying. Anyway, I'm going to scale it instead of moving it. I'm going to scale it to make it thinner instead of moving it to make it thinner, so that I can go ahead and open that area up while also maintaining my, you know, yeah. And this thing was just stretched out wide. I can scale it this way to open it up a bit. And then what I'm thinking is, actually, it'd be kind of cool, and this is just a random thought, I'm not going to grab the wide one, I'm going to grab that one that hasn't really been all that adjusted. If we have a sort of indentation here, like a natural column that goes up into the UNSC building, like they didn't want to destroy their foundation. So, you know what I mean? Like, the building needs to have some kind of semblance of making sense, and I think if they dug out the rock underneath their main structure here, they would be very unhappy shortly thereafter. So let's go ahead and put that in there as a sort of natural column. We can even tilt it a little bit more to give it a cool angled slope there. But maybe a little bit less than that, because I kind of was thinking about it originally as a blockout idea to tighten up your movement with vehicles through here, to like sort of force you to go around a sort of column here, to where you can't just go all the way in, you know what I mean? Anyway, that works. I think this is probably ruining the map at the moment. Let's see. Nope, no it's not. Cool. Okay. That's kind of creating a natural thing out here, which may be cool to have part of this building here be natural, or maybe just have a little part of the building there that maybe you can enter and exit. Let's see. We've got it. It's a very chunky boy. Maybe, oh, let's go back. Come on now. Go back out on that one. I meant to, let's just grab the whole thing and make it smaller, so that we can just, yeah, very naturally do that. And what we might do is actually go and do like this. Let's see. Okay, come on. Let's rotate by 45 degrees. That sounds better. And then do this. And I want to see what he thinks about this. This is not me declaring how it is. I want to make sure that everyone's aware that this is not me declaring how I think the building should be, or like is. This was just me blocking out how I had envisioned it before his stream, and combined with what he was saying in his stream. So some of this is new stuff, some of this is old stuff in my head. And for you guys, it's all new stuff, because this is what I was like describing, imagining some of this stuff ahead of time. And then you guys were probably thinking, like, what is he saying? Like, oh, yeah, sure, he's saying a bunch of stuff, but it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Might have been how that was going. I have no idea, because I you know, all I can do is say it. I can't hear myself. I'm actually something of a... So there's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. And I may have talked about it before, but there's some people who report not having the ability, or not having any internal dialogue. And I am one of those people. Or when I think, I don't think in words. I think in abstracts. When, like, 100% abstract concepts. And it's like the entire, all of my thought processes are abstract. There's not words running through my head describing what I'm thinking. It's a cloud of concept with everything I think. And I believe that's one of the reasons why whenever I talk, like, I'm not thinking these words before I say them, they're just coming out of my mouth. So if it feels a little weird the way I speak, that's probably why it feels so weird the way I talk. But just in case, just if there's any weirdness about me that's bothered you a little bit, that might explain it for you. But it's just a weird thing. And that was my music shutting off. Let's see, let's turn that back on. And let's try to make this a little wider. and make it a little bit more like an asteroid. And then at the bottom, I'm going to probably put another one of these. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I mean, I was kind of thinking more of a flat terrain than all this, so this hill is a little bit too thick. What I'm going to do is make this a lot thinner and sort of just put it there. And then see about this one. Can I get this one to be thinner without it losing its entire shape? Yeah, a little bit. Kind of want this to be more of a flat shape, so I can very easily just plop it in there. Anyway, and then there would actually be Oni building back here as well. In fact, let's go ahead and do that with a big old black block so that it looks like... I was thinking it would be cool... Okay, hold on. As far as design is concerned, if... Now that definitely didn't unscale. Okay, let's redo that. No, it's not. Please line up. Thank you. Okay. As far as scale is concerned, it is cool to have, you know, your UNSC building being squat, you know? And then I feel like over here, we should have this one be tall and like sort of just like imply there's more than you thought, which means that I feel like it should slope up as it comes out and be even taller on the outside. So in the front, you see this tall looming building. It's taller than anything else. And then you go around and you go, oh shoot, there's even more to this than I thought. And that sort of subconscious reaction will make you feel like Oni's got secrets. You know what I mean? So if this thing was like maybe here, and then we put a slope there, that's just the right angle that you won't see it from the inside of the map. You won't, or at least you won't notice it. So that may not be the exact right spot, but something to that effect. And then we'll flip it over, and we'll go down here, and we'll go down into the ground to be like, yeah, and they have the depth as well. Like, yeah, UNSC building, look, it's open here. There's a ramp you can see down into it. Over here, though, we've got the depth. It's making Oni feel really creepy now. You know what I mean? Like, they know more about what's going on here than you do, and they're not sharing their secrets. Would be kind of, it's kind of this kind of idea here, I guess. I might duplicate this again. I was hoping it would do better than that. Okay, let's do it this way. And then bring it down to come all the way down here, turn off magnets, and just stick it down here so we can kind of make this thickness of this building here. I'll just drag it a little bit here. It's not going to be like a good placement yet, but it kind of has an idea. Let's flip this over to make it taller into the floor there, just to make it look like Oni's got not just the width but also the depth going on here. And we might even make this building wider and then flip it around, and I don't know how wide I made that because I didn't do it by increments, but that feels about right how far I did it. This is not a proper block out, very loose. This is where some of this he's gonna have to, you know, Ripshade's gonna have to just straight up rip it out and rebuild it, because some of these blocks are just not well structured, like you know, scaled at all. But yeah, okay. So then the road would kind of go around the back end there, and then we would have natural. Ooh, let's do this one actually. It's already scaled wide, and we can rotate it a bit this direction to sort of get us. I'll have a little bit of a poke up hill there in the middle. That's fine because it'll be right behind the Oni base, and maybe Oni wanted there to be make it to where you can't quite circle around them too easily. You know what I mean? Let's see. We might even have a bit of a more of a hill, but basically something around that area might be interesting to have, like, you know what I mean? Like they're very much embedded in the rock. It kind of gives this like rock wrapped around them kind of feel. We could even put a doorway there that's like locked shut. You know, it's like, yeah, no, you're not getting in there. Don't even try. And then, ooh, I went into the kill zone. Oh, is that the bottom of the map? That's cool because you can go outside the bounds, so it's not a big deal. Let's see. Yeah, that is the bottom of the map. So we're hitting the bottom of the map now. We have plenty of height, not much depth, because he wasn't planning on all of this underground area when he originally built the map. But that's okay, because we are at the point where we don't need any more. Let's see. We just need to go... Will this go nice and flat? What's going on here? How will this look? At this point, we would put a... Ooh, don't go out of bounds myself. We can put this down here. And we don't need any larger of a map than this. So, we're pretty good. The asteroid would just go like this, and then go a little bit deeper. In fact, you can go really far outside the map. The moon in Waterworks is super far. But something like that to make it look like just a giant, chunky asteroid. I even kind of like that part where it looks like a piece got hit and broke off. That looks pretty cool. And they've just built a structure on top of it, and this one over here will, of course, imply they have multiple bases overlooking this. This is control where they go, if the flood starts to have an outbreak, we're firing Mac rounds on you. Don't even try to worry about it. You're gonna die. Like, we're gonna blow you up because we don't want that flood getting out of there. We will just start firing Mac rounds on this building. We might even have a nuke built into this building somewhere as an emergency. That would actually be kind of cool as a visual. If we had like a part of this base, maybe right on top of the UNSC HQ, it just has a giant nuclear bomb on it that's just waiting to be like ignited to wipe out this entire thing. A giant Havoc nuke. That would be kind of cool. Let's see. So this is kind of what I was picturing on the outside, mixed with what you were saying. If we have this ramp, right? Actually, wait a minute. You could use this ramp to go into natural cave work. I deleted all the ramps and slopes and stuff over there, so I might as well do it here too. But also, this is the original setup I had, which is just a regular slope going down to this, instead of having the curve. And I mean, what if... Whoops, this one. Like, I was hoping, let me get into what I was saying before. Now that we've got sort of visual aid, I can explain what I was hoping for whenever I was saying the stuff about rat race. Gosh, the two of them are so confusing. This is already incorporating what I was saying about rat's nest, because it just is, obviously, because that's what I was doing. But yeah, so okay, so it's already incorporating what I was saying about rat's nest. But what I was saying about rat race is that rat race has, you know, those tunnels. I'll pull them up real quick. It has all those tunnels. It's all that tight stuff. I can pull up Blender. I can move it over here again. I can show you again in rat race, right? It's all these like tight, weird, angled, nothing really makes a lot of sense. It's like, why is this one sloping up and then sloping up and then sloping back down, then sloping down and coming over here? It feels very much like it was naturally built around the structure of whatever this is. Like maybe they had a natural river flowing through here, so they had to go above the river, or maybe they or maybe it was something to the effect of these rings are part of the spine of a structure, and they needed to come off of that spine of that structure into the natural cave work, but the natural cave work had like a big old, like maybe it was like the side of a mountain, and there's just a big old cavity right here, and they had to go up out of to avoid the cavity. They had to go up, and then to avoid more of the cavity, they had to go even further up. And it's just the Forerunner doing Forerunner stuff, where they're like, nah, we're fine. We'll just make a natural like structure. You know what I mean? Like a really, you know, intricate idea. But also, it kind of feels like being built around the inside of like an asteroid. The asteroid has its shape, and there's nothing you can do about that. The asteroid only has so much rock there, so unless you start building outside of it with your own structure, if you want to be completely encased in the asteroid by mining and like keeping your air tight, by keeping that asteroid there, I mean, there'd be cracks that go out into space, so you'd have to fill those, but otherwise you're mining and you're like, oh, I hit a crack, hey, we got a pressure problem. You just get a caulk gun and fill up that crack, and pressure sealed, we're good. You know, and like fill it up with some concrete or something more, you know, non-porous, and you're like, good, seals, you know, the air's sealed, and you don't lose any more of your oxygen. But the point is that, yeah, you could very easily You might actually probably in that case, you would actually break up the outside of the asteroid. This is just sci-fi nonsense, but check this out. If you were in this situation, you were mining down there, and you didn't want to have to build, like, high-tech walls as you mine, what you do is first you would scour the outside of the asteroid. Like, it would have all these cracks and stuff in it, right? That would go toward the inside. Well, what you would do is you would cover it in sand. You just let the gravity of the asteroid pull sand in, and you just cover it in enough sand, thick enough, that all the cracks would be sort of sealed over. And if you opened up a cave inside and there was a crack going all the way to the outside, that sand would be blocking the airflow enough that you wouldn't lose a lot of air pressure. And then right as you go to lose your air pressure, that's whenever you sort of like start controlling your airflow. You like, that'll give you enough time for it to get like I said, get it like a little squirt, little caulk gun to squirt it and fill up that crack. And by the time you're done, and then now you've got no problem. But in here, we've got these giant openings, so it wouldn't actually be airtight down here. This would be a very, open to space territory. Whereas up here, we might actually put like a glass dome or some kind of like glass structure to like sort of seal it off, which would be kind of cool. Or something to that effect, at least above like the barracks or something. But, so where, UNSC personnel don't have to be walking around in a spacesuit to be out here. But keeping it vacuum, like using the vacuum, they could probably, lock in the flood and use that to their advantage. So they might actually just leave it as a vacuum. So anyway, what we've done today is thoroughly blocked out the outside for what I was envisioning originally, and it would be entirely, now it's up to Ripshade to come in and let me know how he was envisioning it. I kind of feel like this one needs to be this way actually. If this is at all in how he was thinking about it. If it is, then that's great. If it isn't, then he can make adjustments. If he likes this and doesn't, and instead of what he was thinking, he can go with it or whatever. He can do his thing. It's entirely up to him. That rock down there is now blocking off the pit, so let's go ahead and move it. I think that was the giant rock I put at the bottom, and I'll definitely have to adjust that to be a little better. These will all be replaced with actual rocks, but yeah. We might even have, what would be kind of cool is like frame work, like steel frames connecting across down there, being like, holding this structure together. Like they dug out that area so they could do something in particular, but they haven't, yeah. Anyway, okay, this thing needs to be moved down for the block out, and then I'm just gonna drive a vehicle around it and walk around for like 5 minutes probably, and that will be the end of it. Let me see where my vehicles are. Gameplay. Vehicles. Let's see this actually in action. We could actually do flying vehicles on this map too, with a block out, with a larger vehicle shape like this. Here's my regular Warthog. There it is. Okay. Budget limit reached. Okay, that's fine. Alright, where did I spawn? Now I gotta go find it. Since I deleted these doorways, that shouldn't be too hard. Cool, I spawned on the right side. There we go. So, you'd be going around here, and it would take about that long. It's kind of like Rat's Nest, probably kind of comparable to Rat's Nest. And then go around. Well, right now this is way too wide here. That would be way too wide for you drive a vehicle right there. I mean, we could theoretically have a vehicle there, and maybe just keep that there as a little jump. But anyway, and then down into the pit. Wow, that's a tight hill. Oh, jeez, it just crashed. Well, that's it. Something about hitting that rock at that speed just crashed it. Probably a physics engine bug. Anyway, that was weird. But, or a network thing. Like it was trying to figure out where I was on the network compared to here. Anyway, I guess that's it. The Halo just said, no, your stream's done now. But we got to drive around a little bit and see what I was doing for the blockout. That's what I was kind of envisioning. And then he's going to do way better blockout, something more of a final product. And obviously may restructure it completely if he doesn't like the way that looks and stuff like that and how that plays. But I want him to drive around in a vehicle now. Now he can figure out if he likes the way it looks and the way I was envisioning it. And then, yeah, like I said, incorporated some of his stuff already. So yeah. Okay, cool. I'll catch you guys later.